tonight, I'm going to explain how to do the tumbling block or the block design. On this one I didn't tumble it, but if you wanted to, you would put the pieces in different order so it kind of looks like as you turn it that the blocks are tumbling. And I'll explain that here in a second. Let me pull this picture up and see if you guys can see it on the TV. Can you see it?
Oh, wait a minute. 1 second to your left. Okay. Oh, there we go.
That's what this is going to end up fitting into. I'm not going to go through on how to cut the segmented rings. If you got to know how to do that, you can talk to me later. I'm just going to show you how to assemble the feature ring for right now. And then after I do this is only going to take about 5 minutes. We'll do a demo on making a Christmas tree ornament. Okay, you start off with a piece of wood 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch. And then you need at least 4 different colors of wood. On this one I have Padauk, walnut, cherry, and maple. You can use anything you want, just as long as they're contrasting colors. I cut all of my pieces on this, on the chop saw. Everything else I do on my table saw. But you can't cut these all on the chop saw. You set up a stop block. Cut a 30 degree angle on it. Most chop saws have a stop for 30 degrees. So turn your blade to 30 degrees. Drop your saw, and you want to make the stop block the space the same width as the piece of wood. So that's how you gauge where your stop block goes. Any questions on how to do that?
Push it back in there now. Just get the camera.
Okay.
Put it back in there. Pull your guard out. There you go. Does that help? Yeah. Raise the blade back. Go ahead and raise the blade back. Raise the saw back.
There you go.
There it is. All right, now we can see it. Oh, so it goes
So,
in that?
that's how you gauge it.
Okay.
Now, to cut them, you just cut it like that.
Oh. So that's not good.
And I'll cut 1 or 2 real quick here. Let the saw completely stop, because if you don't, it's going to pick it up and throw it. It'll chip one of the corners on you. So, basically, you come up with a little diamond. Any questions on how to cut that? Real difficult.
They're coming out pretty good, pretty nice.
Anybody else want to see it?
That's perfect.
Can you double check your saw so that you're sure it's got to be?
As long as you cut all your pieces, yeah, make sure it's 90 degrees. But as long as you cut all your pieces at the same time, you're fine. Now, on this ring here, it's 12 pieces. 12 blocks. So, you need 12 of each color for your blocks, and you need 4 of the maple.
So 48 maples,
Right.
12 of each of the other.
12 of each of the others.
So would you recommend cutting a few extra?
Can you see that?
Okay.
I don't know, I can't see the TV, can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
That's your pieces. Now, the biggest thing is is it really helps if your block, and I'll pass this one around, you can start looking at it.
They're clean enough, you don't have to sand them or anything?
Yeah, well, you feel, I'm using a really good solvent. It really helps if you have wood that has a lot of grain to it. Because, like the walnut here, you can see the grain where it makes it look more three-dimensional. If it was more of a washed out color like the maple, it wouldn't look as much three-dimensional, where if you have woods that have a lot of grain pattern to it, it makes it look more three-dimensional. Now, you're always going to glue these two pieces where the grain's going this direction and grain going that direction. The top one, you either can have the grain going this direction, or you can flip it around and have it going that direction. It doesn't matter whichever way you like it. And then if you want to do the tumbling block, what you do is turn the next one that direction, and then turn the next one in that direction as you glue them up, and then it'll look like as the vase turns that the block is rolling around.
Keith, is it pretty important to keep the patterns the same, start one way with the dark wood?
Pardon me? I didn't hear you.
Is it important to keep the pattern the same for dark wood all the way around, or alternate? It's easy to make a mistake and you don't get that pattern the same.
Yes, and yes, you want to keep them in this orient. If you're going to do it this way, you want to keep them in that orientation. If you're going to tumble them, you don't want to do, like I started them like this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do it, well, eventually it's going to look like,
Turn the other hold.
there you go. Hang on, let me turn it this direction so I can.
You can't get there from here.
There you go. One's going to be like that, but you always want to have these two grains going to each other. And that is usually a no-no in segmented, is having end grain going to end grain. But since you have side grain and side grain here gluing, I haven't had a problem with them falling apart or exploding. But
They're small too.
and on the maples, my grain pattern runs like this, and same thing on the top. They're going this direction. And on mine, I try to get the maple that has the least amount of grain pattern, because then it's not contrasting with your tumbling block. The tumbling block sticks out against everything else. Then all you do is smear glue on all the pieces, and don't be stingy with the glue. Segmenter's theory is, I'd rather waste 50 cents worth of glue than waste 40 hours and the thing fall apart on me when I'm turning it. And then I just use rubber bands. And it's easier when the glue's on there because it makes it a little stickier. And you just push them all together. And if you guys can see that still, that's your glued up piece. Let it set overnight, and then basically all you're doing is cutting the tips off. And all I use is my bandsaw with a miter sled, and mark it, and then cut the tips off of it. And then the pieces that go in between it, because these edges here are 90 degrees to the block, you got to get some type of angle in here to make it go round. You start off with a block like this that has 15-degree angles because of a 12-piece segment. Each side has to be 15 degrees or a total of 30 degrees. So I just cut them, and again, you can cut these on if you had a long piece of maple that's 2.5 inches tall, set your miter to 15 degrees, and just cut yourself a whole bunch of pieces. I just make it on my table saw and tip my blade to 15 degrees and make a long piece and then just chop them out. But if you don't have a table saw, you can cut these on your chop saw, same way. On these, mine's running up and down, but if you cut them on regular, your grain pattern is going to be running sideways and will be just fine because you're going to be gluing it like this. Yeah, it would. But I do it a little odd, but it just, that's all there is to do the tumbling block design. And all you do is stack the blocks up like this, put these in the middle, put glue on all of it, put a big rubber band around it or whatever you want to hold it together with, and let it dry. And then I run it through my drum sander to get it smooth, wherever that one is around here. You can tell it's smooth, and then you just build off of that. Any questions on how to do the tumbling block? It looks complicated, but it's probably one of the easiest feature rings to make.
Now your central setup, is that the same type of thing where like you would do on plates? Same thing.
Yep. Yeah, you can just take, when I cut these, I cut crap loads of them, and I just put them in these in these tubs, and then when I need to do like a design in the bottom of a bowl or something like that, I can put these together as
Keith, can you move that in place of the other stuff so we can see it on the camera?
Yep. Let me get it together here first. You can do that with it, and it'd be a star, and then you could put the maple pieces on the outside of it here like this.
Keith, is it pretty critical to 3/4 by 3/4?
No, you can do it smaller if you wanted to. You could do 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, but you really want the wood to be 3/4 inch thick because when you start to turn that, you're going to curve it. If you start out with where it's only a 1/2 inch thick, it's giving you only a 1/2 inch wall thickness. So I have done one where I did it where the blocks are just 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and it's a smaller block, but it's 3/4 of an inch thick.
And that will fit a smaller hole.
Right, yes. You could get a smaller vase or a smaller bowl or something like that. But yeah, you can make the blocks as small as you want. I would still suggest that you go 3/4 of an inch thick.
Yeah, I mean, 3/4 inch stock, you cut 3/4. So
Right.
You got it. I mean, the fact that when you put it on that chop saw, you want 3/4 on 3/4. There's no tolerance. I go 0.8 or.
No.
What I'm saying is, set the jig up, you can take a piece of 1/2 inch, then stop.
Yeah, no,
Set that up.
No, I just want how critical the 3/4 by 3/4 is.
It's pretty critical that's why I use the stock, and use it as the gauge to,
So, let me ask you a question. So if you're doing a half-inch piece, wouldn't you want it half-inch by 3/4?
yes, yeah.
Does that answer the question you were asking?
Well, no,
Yeah, it wouldn't be a half-inch by half-inch block.
No,
or-
half-inch by 3/4 to maintain the
Right.
thickness of
But-
3/4.
Yes, it would be like this, but when you make your gauge, you're gonna put it on the half-inch side.
Yeah.
Because,
You're gonna lose your option to be able to rotate it any way you want to.
right,
I just want them to understand that. So you got a thickness rendered.
pardon me?
You have a thickness rendered.
Yes,
You get any snap on the end of it, or how do you work around the snap?
I run it through the drum sander anymore.
So you run through the drum sander to get the 0.75 by 0.75. I'm just trying to understand now.
I used to do it because I just bought the drum sander about 4 months ago. I used to run it through my delta thickness, and you just take off very light, and I usually never got any snipe on it.
Okay.
But now that I got the drum sander, I haven't pulled out the thickness planer unless I gotta really take a lot off of it, and then once I take it off, then I run it through the drum sander again and get it nice and smooth.
Okay, thanks.
But that's how it's done. Any questions, any concerns? I know it's a stupid thing, but you know, I had a couple people ask me how I do those. Next demo is
Keith, can we move the setup before you get into